content, information, and opinions expressed during the related show are those of the show personalities and guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Welcome to Making Money with Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. With over 20 years of real estate experience and selling over 150 homes a year, Laura Sanders is the #1 RE/MAX agent in the state of Florida for 2021. Join us each week as we discuss how to make money through buying and flipping homes, to renting versus selling, and everything in between. To join the conversation, call in live. 888-994-4995, Studio A.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Making Money with Laura Sanders, and I am your host, Laura Sanders. Every week we talk about something that can help you make or save some money. So this week I decided that we would converse about what the market predictions are for 2024 and what I think is going to happen going forward. Typically over the years, I've been doing this for a very long time. I got complimented today that my last appointment that I left, that they couldn't believe how young I looked and thought that I lied about how long I've been doing this. So that was good.
Whistles from the production room.
Yes. So, but you know, after doing this for so many years, you always second guess yourself. So, you know, today I was thinking, well, okay, I'm second guessing myself all the time, and I know that I shouldn't, because I know how the market has really gone over time. I mean, you think about it, I've almost been doing this a quarter of a century. That's kind of freaky.
What are you second guessing?
So every year, November, December gets slow. But last year and the year before, it just was like, it was like an anomaly.
Yeah.
It was just, it was something on steroids. It was something that you've never seen before. So with that being said, I was a little concerned, you know, when it gets a little slow and nothing's moving. So this November, December, it's like nothing was really moving. It was kind of, I would give my advice. I feel like I'm a professional. You hire me for a reason, because I know what to expect, what you should think, what you should look for, what you should think about. And I usually tell people, maybe it's best to wait till January, because I feel like you're wasting days on the market. And a lot of people get busy. I mean, it's been a crazy couple of weeks. Like, you know, Christmas came like this. It was just a snap of a finger. Now we have the new year coming, and guess what, everyone? We've got to start all over again. Like, all over again. We have to do this again.
Well, let me ask, days on the market. Is there a number that you should not be on the market longer than? Does it look bad in with selling a house if you're on too long?
The thing is what's normal?
What's normal?
But that's the question. What is normal? For a very, very long time, it was very normal to take 4 to 6 months to sell. Very normal. But, you know, and if you go back to like old times, definitely the computer, you know, we didn't always have an MLS. It barely came right before I came into the business, right? People would go pick up a pamphlet, you know, it would be like printed like typewriter. You go and you pick it up and you say, these are the houses, and there'd be no pictures. Or maybe my favorite marketing piece that I actually have from a client that I sold their house about 2 years ago was a realtor took a Polaroid and glued it to a piece of paper with the typed information about the upgrades. And you're talking about, this is like 25 years ago. This isn't a long time ago. So,
but with COVID, everything exploded.
It did.
Things were being sold in 24 hours.
So
overnight.
We're spoiled now.
Everyone's spoiled. And you
well,
the trend
if you're
is
a
now
buyer's
going,
agent, you're not spoiled. You're happy now that things are back to somewhat normal, but yet it's not really normal. Does that make sense?
It's the new normal.
Right. And if you look over time, prices have continuously stably gone upwards. They haven't gone downwards. Now, listen, things have gone downwards in a sense that if you need a new roof, you're going to have to give some concessions for that.
Right. What concessions do you need to give? Do you need to say, I will replace your roof? If you've got a big house, like some people,
depends.
60, 100,000, or can you just maybe fix it or split the difference?
It depends. You know, when doing a real estate contract, you have to understand all the intricacies of it. So number one is can I get insurance? If you can't get insurance and you're not paying cash, there's no deal.
And what would preclude someone from getting insurance?
Well, first of all, hiring the right inspector, right? So you want to hire an inspector that maybe is a little lenient, right? They're willing to give you, typically, if you give less than 5 years of life left on a roof, typically, insurance companies don't want to pick you up. Or they'll drop you, you know, the following year. Now, there are sometimes some companies that maybe don't look at that, but when you start to get to 30 years, if you're a buyer, unless you're getting a hell of a deal on the house, like, you're going to want concessions for a roof. I went on a listing appointment about a year ago and told the man, it was right before Christmas, and I said to him, this is what your house is worth. And I love this, but I hate this, right? Because I didn't get the listing. But let me tell you how this all played out. Told the man, listen, you're gonna have to give concessions for a new roof. The roof was 1990, I want to say it was 1992.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, but it doesn't leak. I said, I understand that. I get that. But at the same time, and by the way, most people don't even know when their roof's leaking because by the time it gets to the ceiling, you've been leaking a very long time. I mean, unless you've really been in your attic and you're looking around, and most people don't go to their attic. I mean, I don't. But so I said to him, this is what your house is worth. I want to say I told him it was worth about $1 million, but I told him if I was him, I'd list it probably for like $1,050,000 or 1.1. He didn't want to hear that. He wanted to list it for, I think it was 1.2. And I told him, you're probably going to have to give some concessions towards a roof, at least split it. And I said, you're probably looking at about a $57,000 roof. So I watched the listing. I saw it come up with an agent who really doesn't do a lot of business. And I'm like, okay. I watched the listing, I watched the listing, I watched the listing. Listing just sits there. Okay. Now one day I'm doing comps, right? I stopped looking at the listing and I'm doing comps. And I see the listing has closed. So I just happened to look and I scrolled down and the agent had changed. One of the owners of my company had listed it. How crazy, right? So I look at the list price. It's the price I suggested. And I look at concessions given, because they tell you on the MLS, the concessions given, $50,000. Funnier than that, a friend of mine was the buyer's agent.
Oh, wow.
So I knew all the players involved. So I call her up and I say, what was this $50,000 for? She says, oh, it needed a new roof. Well, duh, right? So the thing is that when I tell you something, I want to get you every dollar I can.
Sure.
But people want...
They want more.
They want more, and I get that. And I tell them, like, let's try for more, but let's work together.
We sold our house 2 years ago in the middle of this COVID craziness. We got an offer, someone knocked on the door, stupid money, but we had to make a concession for the roof. We ended up splitting it, and then it came in, they needed another whatever percentage, and that was fine. We didn't pay for the whole roof.
Okay.
But the best part was the person who bought the house said, and their agent said, we're not going to haggle. It was a Friday night. By Monday, you give us your best offer. That's it. We either take it or we don't. There was no haggling back and forth. It came down to the roof, the concessions on the roof, and that was that. You either take it or not. And it made it easy, but you kind of knew what you had to do. You had to come in with your best number.
Right.
So what was listed here, we knew it needed to work. We came to here, they came to here, and you move on.
You know, that's the thing. Like I had a listing during COVID. I had sold the house to my client. They lived there for about 5-6 years. And when it came time to sell it, we knew it needed a new roof. but it was crazy. So we went under contract and a buyer backed out. And so I put it back on the market. So I got a bunch of offers again. So I said to the agent that wrote a really good offer, I said, I just want to let you know that the roof is not leaking, but it is old. It is 1996. And the seller's not going to give any concessions for the roof. Are you okay with that? Oh, by the way, I have the inspection report. You could still do your own inspection, but I'm giving you the inspection report from the previous buyer. I crossed out their names, whatever, and I gave it to them. And I said, so I just want to make sure you understand we're not giving anything. Yeah, no problem, no problem. Okay, we have the inspection, and they come back and they want the roof, given concession for the roof. And I said, the seller is not going to give you a concession for the roof. Why are you trying to shove this down our throat? And I'm like, wait a minute now. So I have 2 bad reviews, one from her client and her. Those are my bad reviews that bring me down because they said I was trying to shove it down their throat. I'm not the owner. I'm just the realtor. I'm the middleman.
Right.
I was very honest up front. I sent you an inspection, you looked at it, you said okay, and then you came back.
But you can't make everybody
I sold it for
happy.
more money though after that.
But you're what number now in real estate and for RE/MAX?
I don't know, I was like number 1, like right now up to year to date, but it could change again.
But you're number 1 in the
state, and then I was like number 14 or 15 in the United States.
So
I don't know, those numbers
clearly,
changes.
yeah, but still, number 1 in the state of Florida for RE/MAX, number 14, even if you're 15 in the state.
Yeah, and then the United States for like all agents, like last year I ranked at 134.
But that's incredible.
For the number of transactions.
Think about that.
Yeah. No, and I feel like
So
I know what I'm doing.
You know what you're doing, so you can't second get the market trends are changing.
No, I just, the thing is that everybody wants everything to sell, right?
Sure.
You want it to sell, but,
Because everyone has a higher value, I think, of what their house is probably worth than what it really is. And then you hear someone come in, it's like when your kids, you think they're straight A students and they get their report card and they're like, oh, they're C's, they're B's, they're pulling it out, and the teacher knows what it is, but you heard the parent, no, they're good. Same thing, right? You think you've got this high expectation, but the reality is sometimes different. That's why you call you in as the professional to say, listen, you're the only agent I know that has a 0% second mortgage to help redo and uplift a house for sale. Who does that?
Because I want my clients to do well when they sell their house. And, and I'm trying, like right now I have a client that I'm helping them. They're paying for stuff, but then I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to rob Peter to pay Paul. So I was like, let's cut this part out because I think we can work with that and we'll fix this instead. Because, I told them a number and I want to try to stay within that number.
So what do you think? It's curb appeal, outside, kitchen painting. Where are we on the list of, I know you have to take a commercial break, but maybe when you come back you can talk about
we can talk
what we're looking
about
at.
like what helps a house to sell and what people are looking for and really what the market trends are and where we're going to go in 2024. I mean,
It's an election year.
Which usually is good for real estate because, or it could be bad. So
No, I
stay
think it's
tuned.
gonna
We're
be
going to
good.
go to commercial break, if I can talk, break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about 2024 market trends and see what does it look like for us.
Whether you're buying, selling, refinancing, or building your dream home, you have a lot riding on your loan specialist. Max Fish, a top 1% mortgage loan officer in the nation, will give you a same-day qualifying quote. Max Fish is committed to providing his customers with mortgage services that exceed their expectations. Ensuring that you make the right choice for you and your family is his ultimate goal. Contact Max Fish today at 954-729-6933 or max.fisch@nwmcorp.net.
At JK Closing Attorneys, we do all of the same things that a title company does, but with the benefits of being a law office. We can help with residential real estate, short sales, commercial real estate, refinances, 1031 exchanges, and FIRPTA withholding.
Contact JK Closing Attorneys today at 954-332-3111. Again, that is 954-332-3111.
You have been watching Making Money with Laura. For more information, contact Laura Sanders at 954-650-0827 or visit her website at laurasell.com. And now back to the show.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Making Money with Laura Sanders, and I am your host, Laura Sanders. Right now, we're talking about market trends and discussing, like, where do we see 2024 going? It's an election year. Do we think that interest rates are going to start to drop? So they say that interest rates are going to drop come around April. Now, does that mean you should wait to buy your house in April? I say no, and that's not because I'm a realtor. I say that because inventory has been very scarce. And when interest rates come down, and they've come down a little bit, but imagine if they hit anywhere in the 5s, people are going to be like, oh, it's like candy, right? It's free again. And so that's going to create bidding up again, which I can't stand. And to me, it's better for you to be in your home that you love and refinance it than for you to have to bid against other people.
Because Max always talks about this great refinance. If you get your mortgage with him and then refinancing, he's got all these great deals. It sounds like if you can find your house, do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you can afford it, right? Just realize that if you can refinance it, well, then it makes a lot of sense, right? So I know that people that bought their house 2 months ago, and anytime you can get like 1 3/4 down from your interest rate, to 2, like it makes sense. Well, it had gotten to like 8, and then it got down, and so if you paid 8.5 and you could get 6 3/4, well, it makes sense for you to refinance 2 months later, which is crazy. I mean, so to me, if you buy it right now at 6 3/4, and you have to refinance if it comes to 5.5 or something like that, which that might not even make sense to do it. It might not. The thing is that your costs to refinance it are going to be minimal compared to a bidding war.
But do you think people are looking now more at the finances of it, or I love the house, I'm going to make it work and let's see what happens? Or are they really holding on to their money to see what's happening with the economy?
I would say that I don't have as many people out looking as I normally would.
Even this time of year? Well, the past 2 years have been funky because
Yeah,
it
last year
has not been normal.
Last year was still looking, but this year was like nothing. Like nobody was really looking. My listings are getting showings, but if you really look at the stats and look at the closed sales, like the number of people that are buying right now are very low. So I'm very hopeful. We're going to see a lot of changes coming up with condos, the government requiring full reserves. It's going to be a financial calamity. I predict we're going to see a lot more foreclosures in the condos because they're not going to be able to pay it. Or you're going to see a lot of people trying to sell and then people wanting to get a deal on them.
And insurance rates are crazy, right? So even if your house comes down, your interest rate comes down, something's got to give. There's only so much money in a pot that people can pay, right? So you've got your house, your interest rates, and then your insurance are skyrocketing. I know ours just got, the new rates came in a couple $100 more a month because they were short from last year because the rates went up in the
you're talking about your escrows.
Right,
Yeah.
so once you get in,
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
Insurance
Insurance is really high.
And it's like you got to shop around, and I think that's like, I feel that for myself, for my clients, like if you've worked with me, I feel like I'm more than just your realtor. I feel like I'm like your realtor advisor, long-term, lifelike, here for you, wanting to help you to make that right decision. And I feel like that we'll see rates come down. So let's see if I'm right. I think rates will come down. I think that condos are going to be a problem for a lot of people. You need to do your due diligence on condos. Make sure that, let the people that own them now pay the assessments. Let's make sure that, that they're collecting their full reserves. But that means $700, $800, $900 a month. Some places are even more than that. Friends of my mom lives A friend's mom lives over in Pompano, and her assessment was, I want to say it was like $80,000, and it needed to be paid within the year.
Oh, wow.
That's a lot. That is really a lot.
Which makes it really difficult. And if people are looking to buy a house, right, and you're the seller, you've got dark cabinets, your grout needs cleaning, maybe your drapes are a little dingy, are there things, landscaping, right, to pull up? So
Yeah.
people can just imagine the house looks fresh, it looks clean, and maybe I don't have to put all my money into redoing the kitchen or the bathrooms. What are some of the top things to look into redoing? And then to call you, of course, because you've got this great 0% help
Yeah.
to redo.
Yeah, and it depends. I mean, obviously, it's not for everybody. Some people might not qualify. I mean, a lot of people do, but obviously, it has to make sense for both of us. But you know, if you don't have any equity, then it doesn't make any sense, because how are you going to pay me back, right? So, but it, you know, I guess most people want white kitchens these days.
So it's
That's-
worth painting them, giving me like a nice paint job?
It depends.
Okay.
Sometimes it's not going to make sense, or sometimes it might spiral, right? you
True,
touch
right.
one thing and you're creating another. So what we have to do is figure out, like, what is this going to bring back to you market-wise? Listen, I don't, you know, some people might feel like, oh, she comes in and she tells me I need to fix this, this, and this. And sometimes I don't. And sometimes I tell you, you need to do X, Y, and Z. So, and sometimes I'm like, no, let's just leave you. All I want you to do is do a little decluttering, take a little bit out. You know, one thing I can tell you is sometimes things just sell the way that they are, and they sell just fine. Sometimes you just put it on the market and then see, and if that doesn't work, you go back and then you do it. You know, you got to weigh your costs, right? If you're not getting a number close to where you think you should be, and making those upgrades makes the difference to a buyer, sometimes it does. I believe a lot of times I hear the feedback when a property is not upgraded is they don't like the floor plan.
Oh, well, that you really can't upgrade.
But here's the thing. I go and I upgrade it, and I get 3 offers in 5 days. So is it really the floor plan? And I call for feedback on every showing, and I ask very specific feedback. Like, well, do you mind just helping me out for this seller to let me know when you tell me it needs upgrades, what do you mean by that? What specifically? Because that's the first thing an owner says when I tell them it needs too much work. Well, what needs too much work? Because what they think is okay might not be okay to that buyer. And a lot of times I'll even ask the question, did they buy something else? Did they find something at all?
Right, what were they looking for to give you a guide as to what
Yeah.
it is? What was their need?
Yeah, I actually had a listing that had about 40-something showings. I called all 40 showings, and I said to them, because the property was listed at like $439, and the owner finally said, okay, you can reduce it to $399.99. And so I called all 40 showings and said, before I reduced it, if I could get this down for you for $40,000, would you be interested in this home? They still were not interested. I called 40 realtors with their clients. Sometimes it's just in such, and people, like, they're poundful, like, you know, they're like, what's the saying?
Penny wise and dollar foolish?
Yeah, and it's like sometimes just doing a little something. And I had 2 men that were helping their dad sell, and I went over to look at it, and I called them and I said, people are gonna walk in and walk out. You have wallpaper on the ceilings, wallpaper on the back of the doors, wallpaper here, wallpaper there. And they said, we agree. I said, okay, well, let me get a quote to figure out, like, let's take the wallpaper down, let's
Right.
do this. I mean, we painted it a nice decorator's white, you know. We had an offer within the first week. You know, it makes a difference.
Yeah, you got to know your market, right?
Yeah.
If it's your dad or your mom's home and you know people moving in are probably going to be of a similar age, maybe a little bit younger, they want kind of turnkey. They don't want to start having to peel wallpaper, stay out of it. They want to get in.
Right.
That's why you do such great opportunities. How do people reach you?
So a good way to find me would be to call me at 954-650-0827, or you can go to my website at laurasell, SELL.com. You can also email me at, don't make fun of me, Okay, I'll use my other email, laura.sanders@remax.net. .net or .com? Now, you're great. Or you
Call
can
her.
just go to lauraess@bellsouth.net. Yes, I have a Bell South account. Tells you how old I am now.
It just got all right. People still
Not
have
AOL.
I was going to say people still have AOL
Yeah.
accounts.
So if you're thinking about buying or selling, you need a top agent, you need somebody that knows what they're doing. Trust me, even just navigating the condo world is a nightmare. So honestly, if you're thinking about buying a condo, let me tell you the ins and outs. Let me tell you what you should be looking for. If you're thinking about selling a condo, let me tell you why you would want to know certain things about a condo in order to help you to market it in the best way possible. So again, thank you so much, Dawn, for joining me tonight to
Thank
talk
you.
about the market trends. And this is Laura Sanders. So we look forward to seeing you next
2024.
next year. I guess we're never playing this one again unless we edit it. Anyway, look forward to seeing you guys next year. Well, not seeing you, but letting you see me next year or hear me on Making Money with Laura. Thanks and have a great night.
Thank you for tuning in for Making Money with Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. To join the conversation, call us at the studio, 888-994-4995 Studio A, or contact Laura directly at 954-650-0827. Laura Sanders, a name you can trust. We look forward to seeing you next week.